What the how did I lose? Oh, there he goes.
Me here. Welcome to the Rod's Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Rod Isaac, aka the BB Dub Lover, the Fuba Protector, the Uncensored Sport Podcast, and much more. A podcast about nothing. I got some special guests today. Say y'all names, and you know what I mean. I got a regular and another regular, about to be a regular. Go ahead, say y'all names, man, and what y'all got going on.
Go ahead, sir. I defer to you, Smurf.
All right, I am Smurf, your lovable asshole, one half of Aries Talking Sports podcast, and also the creator for the T-Shirt Wars with Smurf, formerly known as More Than a Photographer.
All right, what's up, y'all? I'm Dietz from Fit Down Sports Show, and we're over on Fit Down Sports Show on YouTube. So click on over to us. We're also on Blog Talk Radio and a whole bunch of other sites. We got our own Spotify channel. We got a channel on everything. So if you get a radio podcast, we're there. Just listen to us. Fit Down Sports Show, and especially with college football coming up, you're not going to want to miss out.
Hey, let's get into the subject today, man. FAMU and UNC, man. Who watched that game, man? This Mac Brown should look like he's in trouble, man. There's no way you should let FAMU score 24 points on you when you got the 3 5-stars on that D line. What happened?
There's no reason why FAMU should score more points than players they had on the field.
Right. I was like,
they had 25 players suspended the day before the game, and they still put up 24 points.
Right. I was like, I looked at the score. I didn't watch the game. I saw the score, and I was just like, how did they score that many points? Like you said, you got damn near as many points as you do players, and that team still managed to put up points. And hell, what kind of looked like a game for a little bit.
Hey, if I'm Jeremy Musa, my stock went up.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? He was eating them apart. Number 19 was eating them apart. like Fareed was eating them. Like, there's no way you should give somebody that much, you know what I mean, that lack coverage as a DB. You know what I mean? You're not going to let nobody, an FCS school, make you look bad on national TV. An FCS school made you look bad, was running on you. Didn't give which kind of stars you had, running on you.
Well, it's like I said on the show on Thursday night. Mac Brown is that guy. Is that kind of guy where when he's expected to do something well, anybody who watched Texas knows when he's supposed to do something, when he's supposed to be good, his teams are terrible. Just look at last year. They were supposed to be really good. Sam Howell was supposed to be really good. What'd they do? Nothing. And they came out first game. At least this time, they scheduled an FCS school, because if they were playing Virginia Tech last night, that game would have been 41-0, and North Carolina would have again gone into the tank.
It's you know what I mean. It's really sad. You know what I mean. Every big school did what they had to do except for them.
But this is the ACC. This is the ACC. This is why we sit there and we have this discussion every year. Every year, I'm in a lot of these groups on Facebook, and every year some idiot comes in and says, "Oh, the SEC is not the best conference," and they start listing all these reasons why, and then they'll bring up, well, the ACC's got better schools, and I'm like, the ACC gets beat by FCS schools. That doesn't happen in the SEC. I don't care who you are. Vanderbilt doesn't get beat by by FCS schools. This is ridiculous.
I mean, I'm looking at the conference, and I'm just like, I mean,
you can see why Notre Dame want to leave. Straight like that. You see why Notre Dame wants to leave the ACC.
I mean, but you see how they remain independent, and they just kind of.
Well, you see why Notre Dame doesn't even want to be associated with the ACC anymore. The only reason they associated with the ACC was during COVID, when when you had to be a member of the conference, and they were like, "Fine, we'll do it." And then last year they were like, "Nope, we're good."
Yeah, I mean, because
got out of there.
For them, it doesn't make any sense for them to be in the ACC. Like the way that they've been doing their scheduling, it works out perfect. They're still the so-called darling of the college football, of college football, and they get talked about because of their tradition, the tradition, and they get to sneak in. They can possibly sneak into the playoffs with the way
as a Notre Dame supporter, as I call myself, because I'm not a fan of Notre Dame. Right. I root for Notre Dame and I watch Notre Dame for one reason. I went to Notre Dame High School here in Connecticut. Nothing to do with the Irish. It's just the high school I went to and played for. That's the only reason I root. That's the only reason I watch Notre Dame. So I call myself a supporter of Notre Dame because I watch them all the time. But everybody always makes this comment. Notre Dame needs to get in a conference. Notre Dame doesn't need to get in a conference because if you look at the only reason to be in a conference in college football is to make money. And Notre Dame makes the most money off their TV contract. Why? Because they don't split it with anybody. Alabama makes $1 million off their off theirs. They have to split that with the 15 other schools that are in the SEC. Yeah. Notre Dame makes the same amount of money, and they split it between themselves. They keep it all for themselves. If that's why people say Notre Dame needs to get in a conference, I'm like, they make more money by not being in a conference. Why would you join a conference for no reason? You're not going to pay other teams to play.
That's the main reason why, because of the fact that they're able to keep all the money to themselves and build the school up however they see fit.
But that's why the news that broke early last week, it was either Monday or Tuesday of last week. The news that broke that the Big Ten just signed $1 billion TV contract. Yeah. Billion with a B. You know what that means, and I said this on my show on Thursday. That means they know when we bring USC in, Notre Dame's coming with them. Notre Dame's going to join the Big Ten at when their NBC contract runs up. Mm-hmm. They're gonna jump at the chance to be in the Big Ten. Play Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, and USC. That's 4 rivals right there, and they get to play Indiana So they get to play in their home state. Like that's what it's about, though. That's why this $1 billion contract was so big. Yeah. Because they know Notre Dame's coming.
Hey, let's move along. How do you feel about the resurgence of Northwestern? Northwestern looked good. That offensive line looked good in the trenches. Yeah. Both lines look good. Hey, Deets, I'm telling you right now, both y'all, I put my money on them boys. You know what I mean? I thought what you calls them to get it done, but they didn't get it done.
You didn't listen to my program on Thursday.
I didn't.
You didn't listen to me when I said because you asked me about that game and I said don't bet on. I said Nebraska. Don't bet on Nebraska because Nebraska is so. So I gotta ask you. You had money on the game. What did you do when you saw that onside kick? What if I had money on that game, I wouldn't have a TV anymore.
You know what I did, Joe? I ain't gonna be lying to you. I drank another Molson Ice, this nice fine Canadian beer, and I turned the TV off. And I waited till like 8 o'clock to turn it back on. Because everybody, I'm telling you, everybody clicked except for them.
Yeah.
I was gonna be, hey, Deeks, I was gonna be
11. You're up 11 on Northwestern, and you're gonna go for an onside kick. Why give a team the ball at the 50-yard line?
Right.
When you're dominating them.
You know what else messed up?
It doesn't make any sense.
They messed up my ticket. Also, I betted on Stephen A. Austin to beat Jacksonville State. And they tore my ticket up too. Like Jacksonville State they look really explosive. Yeah, I mean, they looking really explosive where I said, damn, I fucked up.
Jacksonville State. You're talking about the team last year that went into Florida, that went into Doak Campbell.
Florida State. Florida State whooped that ass. State.
So I would have told you on that one. Jacksonville State was right. They're ready to play with the big boys.
Yeah, they definitely are. They explosive at the running back position, the receiver position. The quarterback looked great. Their defense looked great. Their pass rush was looking scary. That guy didn't know what to do. He was throwing in the dirt every play almost.
But back to Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska is such an enigma, and I said this on the program. The only way Nebraska is going to fix what they're doing is to get out of the Big Ten, or to figure out how to schedule outside of the Big Ten, because that's what's killing them right now. Is one, they're the worst team in the Big Ten, and they're the second. Where I mean, Rutgers doesn't count because Rutgers is awful. Rutgers has never counted, but other than Rutgers, Nebraska's the worst team in the Big Ten. And I mean, we just talked about it. There's no reason for them to leave monetarily. There's no reason for them to leave. But what they need to do, I said this on the program, get Colorado back on the schedule. Get a rivalry game back on the schedule. Nebraska has no rivals. So there's no reason to watch them. No one's going to watch them nationally because they don't care. Like, I remember last year their big game was against Michigan. And, yeah, they played well, but that was the only time you saw them on national TV. That's not Nebraska football. Nebraska need to get back to playing rivalry games, and you're not going to do that with a Big Ten schedule. So they need to look outside. And I don't know why they can't. It doesn't make any sense. Florida plays Florida State every year. Clemson plays South Carolina every year. They're not in the same conference, but they work it out. Like that's what Nebraska needs to do. And Scott Frost. I mean, there's nothing Nebraska can do.
You think Scott Frost on the hot seat?
No,
he always loses the first game every year almost. They say. Is he
on the hot seat because he lost the first game? No, he should be on the hot seat because they haven't had more than 3 wins in any season. Season.
When did they stop?
Go ahead, Smirk. Go ahead, Smirk.
I was asking. I just wanted to ask, like, when did Nebraska stop having their stop doing their rivalry games?
They stopped when Colorado went to the Pac-12.
Oh, okay.
When Colorado left the Big 12,
they still could have kept that going though.
When they left, Nebraska was upset about it, and that's why it was either one. It was one of those. It's either when they left for that, or when Nebraska left for the Big Ten, they got mad at each other. It was the Texas A&M kind of thing, where they were like, "Oh, you're leaving the conference. We're not playing you anymore." And it's the old adage. It's cutting your nose to spite your face. Like, yeah, keep the rivalry. I mentioned this. I mean, I remember this growing up. I mean, back when I was a teenager, Colorado, Nebraska was the biggest game Thanksgiving weekend. the biggest game Thanksgiving weekend, and we're talking NFL Thursday, NFL Thursday football. You had Thanksgiving football on Thursdays. You had Texas A&M, and you had Colorado and Nebraska. And Nebraska was a bigger game than any of the other ones put together. Even the one Saturday, even the one Sunday. It was the biggest game. And they need to get back to that because that's the only way you're going to get national. That's the only way national recruits are going to watch Nebraska football.
Right.
And that's it. But you mentioned Scott Frost. Scott Frost, this is the problem when you hire a legacy coach. And Scott Frost is Nebraska football. I mean, he won a Heisman there. You can't fire him. You can't fire him. You just have to let his contract run out and not rehire him. You can't fire him though. If you fire him, Lincoln will go nuts. The diehard Nebraska fans will go nuts.
Hey Smurf, this is for you. After you've seen the Utah State versus Connecticut game with Jim Moore doing his thing, are you licking your chops?
Yeah, of course. I've been licking my chops for months.
You got Ferraris. They got Priuses.
Ever since the schedule came out, and we talked about it last week. We talked about how Alabama always gets all the backlash about scheduling, but again, like we said, scheduling's like done years out, and when you're looking for somebody to schedule, and everybody's like, "Oh, no, it becomes a tug of war of where to play, things of that nature, and so yeah, with Utah, then got a game out the way, and it's just like, okay, we ready. I
got my man Snowman in here, the LeBron hater.
Alabama's schedule is a joke. Alabama's scheduling process is a joke. They haven't played. Yeah, they have not played a true road game in over a decade. They haven't played a big name team on the road that's outside of the SEC. Every time they play a big time game against a big time opponent, it's either on a neutral field or it's at home.
Oh, that's simple. They're too chicken to get. They're too chickens to get it done.
You could say they're too chicken, or they're just smart. They know how to work the system. They've worked the system for 10 years. I mean, it's that simple. If you don't have to, if you don't have to play on the road, then don't.
Hey, Deeks, let Snowman get it in. Hey, Snowman, say what you got to say, Snowman.
Well, I've said what I needed to say. Alabama's worked the system. Deets is right about that, but I also feel they're too chicken to play anybody on the road of significance.
By
the way, to Rod, it's Montana over Brady all day long. I just had to get that in there.
Hey Snowman, I gotta tell you this. You gotta stop sniffing the glue out the paper bag.
Come out here with the disrespect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the glue on top of your head. No thanks. I've seen greatness, and Brady ain't it.
That's why he's still playing at 45.
And that's why he's chasing a damn ghost.
Hey, you seen Julio?
Just like LeBron. Just like LeBron's chasing a ghost. And I gotta go. I gotta get some tea. I'll be right back.
All right.
But you brought up Alabama. I was looking at this before. The Alabama, Utah State at Alabama. Guess the spread.
Go ahead. Give it to us, Deets. I'm gonna say 32.
41.5. It's opening at 41.5.
Hey, Deeks.
If you bet Alabama and they win by 40, you lose. That's how bad that game's gonna be.
No bet.
Bet Alabama and they win by 40, and you still lose the bet.
I think you had to take the points on that end. You're gonna have to take the over. You're gonna have to pray for the over. You got to pray for the over.
I watched Utah. I watched Utah State. Of course, they played my Huskies in Connecticut. So, Yeah. I watch Utah State play. Alabama will have 41 by halftime.
I think Utah could probably put at least 17 on. At least 17, 14, maybe in the fourth quarter when Alabama's got all their walk-ons in. But Bryce Young will have 4 or 5 touchdowns by halftime. All right, so let's get into why we all here for. Who want to go give some good picks? Anybody did some research on some good picks to give them out to the people, man. At least 3 college picks. Who want to go first?
I'll jump that shark because we just talked about the SEC. I'm taking them out. I'm taking them out first game. I believe in the Cincinnati Bearcats.
You got Cincy beating Arkansas.
At Arkansas, given 7 points, I'll take Cincinnati to win outright.
You taking the 7?
I'll take them to win. I'm taking them to win outright. So I'm taking them to call.
The money line.
I think Cincinnati takes them out.
Okay. What's your one? What's your Smurf? What's your first one, Smurf?
I'm looking at the spread on that because that's going to be a good one.
I have the opening spread at 6.5.
Yeah,
so
I just looked at it. I'm looking at it now, and it dropped to 6.
It's going to go down. They put that number up. I guarantee you the Vegas numbers are going on. The hard hitters are betting Cincinnati, and they're betting Cincinnati big.
I'm looking. That would have been a terrible because I'm looking at Georgia, Oregon. Nah, that's a terrible. Nope.
I got Georgia beating Oregon.
Well, yeah, I got them beaten, but I was looking at the spread. I was looking at because they got a 17 and minus.
You got. I got the number 17 and a half. I got 17 and a half for that one. Which of course. I said on the show on Thursday, I said if it's 14, I'm taking Georgia. If it's anywhere between 14 and 17, I'm taking Georgia. And of course it opens at 17 and a half.
Right. But and that's why I said that hook is
I'm still taking Georgia for one reason and one reason only. And
Smurf,
did I hear you're an Alabama fan?
Yeah.
All right. So you'll know this name really quick, and you'll understand why I'm taking Georgia in this game, because Oregon's quarterback is Bo Nix.
That's trash.
Yep, you know what?
Trash.
Bo Nix is the most garbage quarterback I've ever seen.
Yes, I forgot Bo Nix. I forgot that he left and went to Oregon.
Trash.
So yes, first of all, I was taking Georgia to win that game. Anyways, I was looking at the spread, and now that you say that, yeah, you know what? Give me 17 and a half with Georgia.
And the way that game is going to play out, it's either going to be Oregon keeps it close for 3 quarters, and then Georgia blows them out in the fourth quarter, or Georgia just stomps them right out of the gate. And it's a blowout from the jump.
Yeah,
that's the way that game's going to play out. It's not going to be Oregon, Ohio State from last year, where Oregon just dominates it early and keeps it going. No, that's not going to happen. Georgia's way too good for that to happen.
Right. And my first one would have been Ball State versus my Volunteers. I'm taking my Volunteers money line all day. I might even take the over at 67. I think they're gonna blow them out.
When you want to take the over on that because of Ball State, not for anything that Tennessee's going to do. You're talking. Ball State's going to put up some points.
They are. I definitely. I think they are. I definitely think they are. I definitely think they are going to put some points up.
And Tennessee's going to put up some points too. So That game's definitely going over.
Can we talk about Notre Dame and Ohio State?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
That's that 17 and that's 17 and a hook right now, or at least from what I'm looking at. Ohio State. I think Ohio State would win. I would probably bet money line wise, I would bet Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is going to keep that. I think that's going to be a better game than what in theory of what all the talking heads, how they see it and things like that. I think that's going to be a tight game. So I'm going to take Ohio State for the win, but spread wise, I'm taking Notre Dame.
And that's a win. That's a win for Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. If Notre Dame comes out and they in the horseshoe, they keep it under the spread. That's a win. That's a win for Notre Dame. That even though they lose, even if they lose the game, Ohio State's the number 2 team, number 2 in the preseason poll. Like if Notre Dame is able to hang with them, people are going to come back and look at that game later on in the season and go, "Wait, Notre Dame lost, but it was to Ohio State."
Right. Exactly.
So, I think it's going to be tough. That's 17. That's 17 and a half. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But Ohio State did lose. Ohio State, like, this is what I don't understand. Everybody's like, yeah, they're bringing CJ Stroud back. They lost their 3 top receivers. All 3 top receivers went to the NFL draft.
Yep.
So who's it? Yeah, they have CJ Stroud, but they don't have anybody. They have like one guy who ran like 5 routes last year.
I like Rugg. I like Rugg, and I like that running back. That running back's dynamic.
Henderson.
The running back, Henderson's dynamic. We already see what he did to Michigan.
They got a great. He did that. To Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State got a good defense, though. We can say they had a real solid defense.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Notre Dame in the horseshoe, especially after last year when Ryan Day is going to be milking that all year long. He's going to be milking that all week long. You guys lost to Oregon last year. We're not doing that again this year, and he's going to be slamming that into these kids are going to come out fired up.
Right.
So Notre Dame, you'll know how this game's going by the first quarter. If Notre Dame is able to hold their own in the first quarter, then you'll know, all right, this game's going to be close. Mm-hmm. But this game could easily be 21-0 in the blink of an eye.
Mm.
And that's what's scary. That's what's scary about this Ohio State team. But I agree with Smurf. I think this game, I think Notre Dame keeps it under the spread.
Yeah.
So if I were betting, I would bet on Notre Dame and the points.
Another one I'm gonna throw out here, guys. Oklahoma versus Central Michigan, that 21.5. Y'all grabbing that 21.5?
Absolutely. Oklahoma this year with with bringing in Daniel Gabriel, probably the best pickup from the transfer portal anybody got.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who saw this kid play at UCF, this kid's got a cannon. And I said this on the program. I said this on my radio show. His delivery, you're gonna hear everybody talk about his delivery looks funky. The only reason it looks funky is because he's left-handed. He's a left-handed kid, so you're gonna look at it and be like, "That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen." But then he throws it, and it's like 50 yards down the field. And he's played at UCF. He's never played with a guy like Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is gonna eat defenses alive with this kid at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take Oklahoma. I would take Oklahoma and the points and probably the over in that one.
I think the over is. I don't think I even got the over.
It's got to be in the 50. It's got to be 55 or higher.
Let me check it out. I think it got to be something crazy like that. I think it was like 50 something.
Plus, with Brent Venables is going to want to come out and showcase. The only problem with the 55 number is that Brent Venables is. I've said this for years. He's the best coach in football. He's the best coach in college football as far as X's and O's.
No, Oklahoma.
He knows defense better than anybody.
I meant it was Oklahoma State versus Central Michigan.
It's even if it's Oklahoma State.
Cowboys.
Yeah, they still put a point. They've been known.
Yeah.
As long as Mike Gundy still has a mullet, where you're taking Oklahoma State in that one. As long as his mullet's on the sideline, you don't bet against Oklahoma State. But even Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders is a great quarterback, and he's gonna put up some good numbers, especially in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, you definitely take the over because Oklahoma State doesn't play defense.
Yeah, the over. Let me see. The over under is at 50 points. I'm taking that 50.
At 50, take the over. Take
that. Guys, also West Virginia versus Pittsburgh. Is at 8 points.
The best rivalry name in that's left in college football, the Backyard Brawl. Love that name. But that's going to be a very interesting game because you have West Virginia, which has JT Daniels playing for his third college team in 3 years, which is an absolute joke. And then you have Keaton Slovis, who transferred from USC to Pittsburgh. So it's the battle of the transfers in that one. I would where is that game?
West Virginia is at Pittsburgh.
They're at Pittsburgh, so it's probably going to be at Heinz Field. I would take Pittsburgh in that one.
Okay. All right, guys. Anybody got any more, or y'all done?
How about
NFL?
How about this one? We talked about FCS earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How bad does Middle Tennessee have to feel right now? James Madison is playing their first game as they come up. They just got let in, and they're the favorites against Middle Tennessee.
They are.
They're the favorites, and it's their first game ever in the FBS. The Middle Tennessee's got to be like, well, we suck. Like these guys aren't even in our they're not even in our division, and we're underdogs to them.
Yep.
How do you feel like that's going, Deets? How do you feel like that's going to go?
A 6.
It's going to be you got to take James Madison in that one. You have to. They're basically screaming at you to take James Madison in that game. And with the fact that it's their first one, they don't want to come out and get blown out by that. So I would take James Madison in that one.
What you got? You got anything to say, Smurf?
Bruh. That's tough. Like you said, that's tough for Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee's been here, been getting their ass kicked throughout the damn
Blue Raiders.
Right, throughout season after season, and then you got James Madison. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'll go with Middle Tennessee. I think they should feel jaded and come out with a chip on their shoulder. And
they should. They have to.
They better.
They talked about their mothers and everything.
They better.
But
what about where we started this whole discussion? North Carolina at Appalachian State, which just that statement alone tells you everything you need to know. North Carolina is heading to Appalachian State, not Appalachian State coming into Chapel Hill. No, North Carolina is going to Appalachian State, and it's a pick 'em. That says all you need. That says all you need to know. That no one believes in North Carolina right now.
Hey, Deets, tell people who Appalachian State is and who they knocked off in the past. Break that down for me.
How about the biggest upset in college football history in the Big House?
Michigan.
In the Big House, knocking off an FCS school comes in and knocks off the number 1 team in the country, and that was the year. That was the year I started with preseason polls. Why the hell is Michigan? Why the hell is Michigan the number 1 team in the country? No one had any idea, and then they come in and Appalachian State just puts a whooping on them. And not only that, blocks a field goal and nearly returns it for a touchdown to end it.
So much joy. So much joy.
Hey, fellas, let's go to NFL. Who want to start it out with some picks? It doesn't matter. Who want to go out first? And, let me give an NFL Week 1 pick.
Well, I mean, we got a couple weeks till the NFL because the NFL. I just realized this. The NFL. You realize the first weekend, the first Sunday is September 11th.
Is it?
The first football Sunday. The first game is Thursday, September 8th, and then the first slate is Sunday, September 11th.
I mean, that first game though on Thursday, that's gonna be a hell of a game. Rams and Bills take the over and just watch the game. that's basically what you got to do there. Oh yeah, that's pretty much a pick. It's a pick'em game.
Oh yeah, you're right. September 11th. God damn, I thought
I don't.
I mean, they better do. They better do. And I said this on the show. I said this on the fantasy show I did last night. Mm-hmm. I when I realized that, I was like, the NFL better do something. They better have something in the works. They better do something really good. Because, and we all know what September 11th means around here. So it's like they better do something to rock that out. But yeah, that first game is basically I wouldn't touch it with the spread. I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I'd take the over with Buffalo and the Rams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the over under on that game is gonna be somewhere in the 40s. And if it's not, if it's under that, you got to be way over it. I would expect it's going to be somewhere around 41.
So for anybody know, is Matt White starting or Joe Flacco starting the first game for Baltimore and the Ravens? Baltimore versus the Jets. My fault.
Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback.
Yeah. Joe Flacco's the starter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got
already been named the number 1. White's going to be the number 2, and then they said it's not going to be that bad for Wilson. They said Wilson will be back by week 3, or they're expecting him back by week 3 or 4, which I don't know. I don't know. It's the Jets. I would hold them out. I would hold them out the rest of the year and be like, well, just get better.
Hey, Deets, is it crazy that a guy at my job betted me that the Jets are going to beat Baltimore?
That's insane. I mean, the Jets are going to win. He bet the Jets are going to win outright. Like,
yeah, they're going to win outright. He shook on it.
I mean, that takes a lot. That you either got a lot of money to burn, or. And this is a guy. He's either got a lot of money, like he just wants to give away money. Like if he wants to donate you money, take it. But
he got so much faith in. He got so much faith in dry rub. I don't even call him sauce. I call him dry rub. He didn't prove nothing in the NFL. I call him dry rub. He got so much. He thinks he's going to be Darrelle Revis 2.0. So I said, "You sure you want to take that? You don't want to give me no points?" He said, "No, I want to straight up."
Again, thanks for your donation. Just thanks for the donation. Like that's not happening. The Ravens aren't losing to the Jets, and as any, I mean, Lamar Jackson for what Lamar Jackson is, the first game he's not going to mess up the first game, and they're probably not going to throw it. They'll probably throw it like 15 times that game.
Hey, and I already looked at the money, the spread and the points. 7 points. I'm taking that. I'm taking that. Straight at 7.
7.5.
7.5. 7.5. I'm taking that.
Absolutely, I'd take Ravens and the points. Where is it? Is it in Baltimore?
No, is that the Jets? It doesn't matter to me.
It matters for the spread. It matters for the spread, because we know, and anybody who follows betting, and this goes to anybody out there. If you see a bet, if you see a line that is usually home teams get 3, you usually get 2.5 just by being the home team. So if the Jets are the home team and they're still 7-point dogs, that means they really think that the Jets are going to lose by 10. That's what Vegas is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how the NFL works. So, because you'll usually see teams, why is it 2.5 when they're at home? Because they're at home. Home teams get 2.5 added to their spread.
Yeah. Well, did anybody watch any preseason games over the weekend? No. Anybody watch any preseason over the weekend?
No.
I haven't been interested in preseason just on the strength. By the time I get home, majority of the preseason games. Yeah, I'm just like, all right. I've looked at some highlights. That's about it.
But do you see how bad Tua's underthrowing?
Underthrowing, yeah.
Tyreek, he won't get him hurt. He's underthrowing the ball.
And see, I've always had issues as far as I had issues with Tariq and Sammy Watkins, pretty much saying like the quarterbacks that they're with are so much better than Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, well, first of all, this man got both of y'all a ring. Let's start there. And then you're talking about quarterbacks that you haven't even played a damn snap with yet. You're just talking about through practice. So I'm like, how? And then we see this past weekend, then like you said, Tua underthrew him.
That shit was almost on the ground. He had to pretty much do a yoga split to get the ball.
Like completely underthrew him. That's always been the thing with Tua, even when he was at Alabama, that arm strength.
Well, that's what preseason's for. I mean, these guys will work that out, and it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, there's nobody. You don't know how fast that guy is until you play with him.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be times where he's throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill is going to have his guy beat by 5 or 6 yards. So Tua will be able to work that out, and I still believe in Tua. The problem is the Dolphins don't believe in Tua.
Right, and I've said that before too. Like it's never. I'm like when you have a quarterback that's been through like 5 or 6 different coaches already, whether it's and then you're like you don't have a good offensive line, and like you have all this shit going on around you, and like you said, the damn organization as a whole don't believe in you. Like shit, he's been playing behind the 8 ball since he got there.
You have a guy in Tua that the organization got suspended for. Remember, they got suspended for tanking for Tua.
Yep.
and they don't believe in this guy, and they still want to get rid of him. It's like, dude, you tanked for him, and now your front office just got suspended for this guy. Just buy in. Just buy into him.
Right. Then on top of that, y'all get caught up trying to bring in Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Like they get you on the investigation with that shit. Like just Just sit back and chill. At this point, you need to sit back and chill. And like you said, just believe into it, or take into it and let him develop, and give him his years. He doesn't develop, then get rid of him. But at least at this point, you might as well just have his back. At this point, like you said, you've done too much. You've gotten caught up doing too much.
And not for nothing, but when you watch that game, I just watch Tua when he plays on offense. I don't care where the ball goes. It's the most beautiful thing when he throws the ball. His pass the spiral on his pass is amazing, and I akin it to it's like when Jay Cutler used to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful in the air. You just didn't know where it was going. You just don't know which team you don't know which team is going to catch it. That's the problem. But it looks really good. When Tua throws the ball, it looks absolutely pristine. It's like every rotation is like perfect. Like you see Patrick Mahomes throw the ball and it's like wobbling all over the place because he throws it so hard. To wobbling all over the place. Tua's throw it's like every rotation is like perfect. It's such a good thing. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. And again, you just don't know who's going to get it. You just don't know who's going to catch it. But I do believe him. I still believe in Miami, just not as much as I did last year. I bought in. This year, I'm not buying in. They got to win me over this year.
You know. I got a lot of people in that too. Little gentleman bets at my job. We got a little bet pool. I'm not gonna say the exact amount because I don't get no tax evasion. You know what I mean? But it's a lot. One guy gave me the spread with the 4.5. My New England Patriots can lose to the Dolphins. I said, man, I still got to see what that line look like. Right. You got a left tackle Armstead. What else do you have on that line that's going to stat Matthew Judon in my pass rush?
Where is the game?
Is that Miami?
That's your big issue.
Yeah.
And just go back to week 17 of last year. All the Patriots have to do is win in Miami.
Yeah.
And they're secured a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? They go down to Miami and have absolute stinker.
But they have Brian Flores then.
Even with Tom Brady, when they went to Miami, Miami was a disaster.
Don't talk about the miracle.
Miami was a disaster. Miami was a disaster during the Tom Brady era. And still, every time they went to Miami, it was a dogfight.
You're going to talk about the Fitzpatrick magic.
You're going to do it. You're going to do
it. You're going to do it to me.
It's magic.
So that's where you get tough. And I would say would you say it's 4.5? Patriots are given 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd take Miami in that one.
You know what I mean? A lot of people think we're going to finish 5-12 regardless. You know what I mean? Nobody got faith in my team this year. They got us not making the playoff, going 5-12.
I was going to say, playoffs last year. That's why I'm like, I don't see how they get that. But
they're not going 5-12 with Bill at the helm.
I don't see it either, Deets. But you know what I mean? That's what a lot of the propaganda machines got us going 5-12, only getting 7 wins. A lot of people putting that smut out here. So
this is a guy. This is a guy. People talk about everything they want. Everything you want to talk about with Coach Bill. This is a guy who loses his starting quarterback week 1, and the team still wins 10 games.
Yeah.
that's how good. That's how good Bill Belichick is.
And we've seen that happen multiple times. It's not like it's been a one-off for him. We've seen that happen where he loses his starting quarterback and they still fucking pretty much run the table.
But you know what I mean? A lot of people Deets are really on the bandwagon. Josh McDaniel left. What about Charlie Weiss?
How many times have guys left Bill? I mean, it's not like this is his first rodeo of like, oh, this is a long, it's been a long time guy that's left. No, you just brought up Charlie Weiss, Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels again. I mean, how many offensive coordinators do you need to have? And yes, when guys leave Bill, usually they go somewhere and it never worked. It hasn't worked out yet. Mm-hmm. But when they're there, it works out. When they're in New England, it works out.
But I feel like this is Josh's last chance. If he can't make this work with a Lamborghini, aka Devontae Adams and Waller and all that, them weapons he got there, he don't deserve to be head coach.
And Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow there.
If he can't make this work, it's on you.
The Raiders are poised. The Raiders are poised, and that's why I loved everybody that made the, when it was made, it was a blockbuster trade for the Broncos to get Russell Wilson. What was the blockbuster? Denver's still the worst team in that division. They're still the worst team in that division because the Raiders are stacked. The Chargers got better, and Denver got Russell Wilson. And
I think they're going to be at least. I think they're going to be the number three in that division, at best. At best,
with them two teams, and they played Raiders and the Chargers. They play each other first game, and I'm like,
I think they do. They're probably what the second Monday night game.
No, they play Sunday.
Oh, they play Sunday.
Sunday 4:25.
Oh,
I feel like that's going to be a high scoring game right there. I feel like that's going to be a high score.
I actually would take the under in that one because both teams stepped up their defenses. And it's going to take a while for Josh. It's going to take a while for Josh.
What did you say, Smurf?
Over under is 52.
I'll take that 52.
I'd take the under. I'd take the under in that one.
And Chargers are favorite.
Ooh.
Chargers are favorite.
I just like Herbert a little.
Was that
52? I would say that game. I would put that game right now. Right now, if you ask me, I'd put that game 23-20. So 40. I'm at 43.
And that's because we have no clue what the Raiders look like.
Yeah.
Just because exactly the Raiders don't know what they don't know what we don't know what they're going to look like. Yeah. I don't think they're going to come out and just throw bombs and throw haymakers. Plus, they got a guy. As long as Josh Jacobs holds on to the ball, he can be a good running back. Problem is he fumbles all the time.
I'm about to say shit.
Like every 5 carries, he fumbles.
He's a damn starting quarterback. Starting running back.
He should be a superstar. Like I said, he'd be a superstar if he could just hold the ball. Just don't fumble. Like last year there was a play where he fumbled and nobody hit him. He just dropped the ball. I was like, what is going on? It's weird, but I can guarantee you right now, Josh Jacobs is in trouble because I drafted him on my fantasy team. So that tells you right there he's probably going to break his leg in the first game.
Got Zamir White behind him, so got Zamir White behind him. Hey, I mean, like you said, if you don't step his game up, and like you said, hold on to that ball, he's gonna be watching on the sideline. But I've seen saw an article like a couple of days ago where they're saying that he might be out, not necessarily out of there, but not the starting running back.
Even if he's not the starting running, he's going to get the bulk of the carry. He's going to get the most carries. I mean, He's too good. He's too good. He's too good, and he's still young. Like people forget he only played 1 year at Alabama.
Hey, Deets, I have a quick question. I got to go get a little controversial.
Yeah.
What took the Bills so long to release this punter?
What took the Bills so long? Because he's a punter, and they were probably like, he's on our team. They probably didn't even know he was on the team. Nobody knows punters. Nobody even talks to the punters.
You know what
I mean,
but why are they not blowing this up like they was blowing up the Deshaun Watson situation? This guy raped a teenager.
Yep.
Again, it's a punter. It's a punter versus a quarterback. Why isn't anybody talking about Alvin Kamara beating a woman, a felony battery? He's in felony court, and nobody and they already gave him 6 games. Like they haven't even done the trial yet, and they're like, yeah, 6 games is good.
Whoa.
And this is a guy who felony battery on a woman. It beat her so bad that it was a felony.
But where the women groups for this one?
So it's just everything is crazy. Everything with these suspensions, they make no sense. And the only reason they went after Deshaun Watson is because he was high profile. It was a high profile case. And so the NFL had to make an example of him. And
I wonder, will they continue to make an example moving forward? I mean, granted, with Deshaun Watson, he had all those cases or whatnot. Like I would like to see the NFL continue to, I guess, keep their foot on the gas and keep this shit going and keeping this shit out there so everybody can see, okay, we're on top of this shit. Like because I feel like this is going to fall by the wayside. Like you said, because he's a punter. Because he's a punter and nobody knows who the fuck he is, instead of this was a professional football player, we need to continue to set the example and make the example out of all these players and owners. Well, we're not even going to talk about the owners because we already know they'll never get put out like that. But continue to showcase this stuff and let them know, hey, we're doing what we're doing our part to make sure not only that people are getting punished correctly, or as correct as it can get, but we're also staying on top of this and pretty much just we're not gonna just show you the high, like you said, the high profile players. We're also going to include these other players that are getting out of line, because stories like these fall by the wayside real quick.
I'd like to know everything about this case. Not all the details of the case.
Yeah.
I want to know when the Bills knew, what the Bills did, and how that all played out, because that'll tell me exactly what Houston didn't do. Because that's what's most important to me about Deshaun Watson is Houston covered this thing up for 3 years. And the NFL's like, nah, we're good. Nah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not fine. Like, a team covered up. They knew this was happening for 3 years, and they covered it up. Now you need to find out how so that it doesn't happen again. And the Bills, apparently the Bills did everything right. They got rid of this guy. And, we'll probably never hear anything about this case. We'll never hear anything ever again because he's no longer in the NFL, and he's not going to be because nobody cares. He's a punter.
I think the only way we'll hear more about it is if there's a fuck up on the Bills part of it. like them knowing about this prior to him coming on the team type deal. That's the only way we'll probably hear more about this.
Yeah, and we'll never know because it's preseason. You know, it's preseason. They'll be like, I don't know, we signed him up, and I think he was a rookie anyway. So it was like, yeah, we brought him in. He's a rookie, and once we learned of this, we got rid of him. And you know what? To the point you said earlier, like punters, they don't even. When I played in college, I didn't even know who the punter was because he never came to practice. They practiced on their own for an hour. They practiced on their own for an hour and left. Like that was it. They kicked the ball for an hour and then they just stood there. And it was like, wait. I was like, who are you? And the kid was one of the kids was in my class in one of my classes, and he's like, oh, you're on the football team. I was like, yeah. Who are you? He's like, I'm the kicker. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right. Sounds good. I didn't even know he existed till halfway through the season.
Like, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, oh, until I got injured and was hanging out with the trainers, and I was like, who are these guys? Now these are the kickers. And I was like, oh. I was like, you guys have the best practice ever. You just kick and then you just sit here and hang out. I want to do that.
Right.
But before we get out of here, anybody got to say the final things? Chris, do you have anything this week coming up? What you got going on your channel?
We do.
I see you growing too. I see you growing too.
Thursday we have our we're going to continue with our SEC. We're going to continue with our SEC Big Ten preview, and of course we're going to preview Week 1. We're going to pick 10. I have 10 games already selected. We're going to pick them out. So we'll be doing that on the show. We also will be doing. I'm in another fantasy league, so we'll be doing a live fantasy draft during the show. So a lot of that going on. I also have in the works. I'm working on something special for my channel. I'll probably end up revealing it on Snowman Show some point. I have to figure out how to do it, but I'm doing videos. Everybody knows I'm a football guy. I'm a sports guy, but I'm also a comic book guy. And so I'll give you a little taste of it right now. But we're doing what I came up with, and I just came up with this concept yesterday. So that's why I'm kind of vague on it, and I'm still working on it. I'm gonna put videos out there. I'm matching MCU characters to quarterbacks, and I've got my list.
What day you doing that?
I've also got NBA. I've also got NBA stars picked out for each character. These aren't going to be on the show. These are going to be videos that I make and that I drop on my channel as I make them. I'm just trying to figure out how to put them together, how to produce them. So I'm working on them. But I will tell you the characteristics are pretty good. It should be fun. And again, this is in line with what I was saying on my show the other day. Like, I go on shows and they're like, dude, you're coming on a comic book show. Don't talk sports. And I'm like, why? We know. And then I'll go on a sports show and they'll be like, dude, don't bring up the comic stuff. Like, people don't want to hear that. And I'm like, no, like it's all part of it. Like we can all do it. And it was funny. I was doing this on the show on Thursday, and a guy called in and started talking to me about college football. And then at the end, he's like, oh, and I want to talk some comics. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, wait, there's other people that like sports and comics. This is awesome. So that's what got me thinking about this. And I'm going to be putting that stuff together. So if you're hearing this, jump on over to Fifth Down Sports Show, subscribe so you get the updates when the videos are posted. And when you see them, I'll let you know, Rod. I'll let you know when I'm posting them, and you can take a look at them. And then
let me know because I share them.
You're gonna have to get your feedback. I already got one of them. One of them's about your guy, so it should be fun.
Let me know. I'll share it.
Absolutely.
I'll definitely pull up, man. That sounds like it's gonna be hard.
As long as you don't make LeBron like to the rogue or anything disrespectful, then I might have to put an unlike. I might have put an unlike button. But
it's okay. It's okay to unlike. It's okay to unlike something. That's why we do it. We don't do it. I don't do stuff so that people are like, oh, I love everything that you said. I'm hoping that people are like, wait, what? Why did you do it? But I'm pretty with everything that I'm doing, I just try to do it. I just tell you what I feel. And again, as we say on the show, tell me why you're wrong. Because I'm going to tell you and you're going to be like, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, just tell me why. Just tell me why. That's all I need to know.
All right, Smurf, what you got coming up this week, man?
Aries Talking Sports per usual. We're on all audio streaming platforms. It's gonna be business as usual. Of course, I'm excited about college football just in general. But of course, with my co-host Rich Prime Minister, with him being a North Carolina fan, I'm definitely gonna give him a little bit of guff about.
Oh my God,
the spam you game. But yeah, man. Business as usual. We drop every Friday. T-shirt wars. I'm actually going to drop my first episode with T-shirt wars. That my transition episode. I'm gonna drop that tonight or first thing in the morning. At least prep it tonight and probably drop it first thing in the morning just so I can get that back going. Rod, appreciate you having me on as always. Deets, pleasure to meet you, my man. I would definitely be tuning in to your stuff. Invite you guys on as well. I really want to pick your brain, Deets, because you're a lot more into it.
Absolutely. At any time, just
you're in depth with it a lot more than I am, man.
You can get my info from Rod, and just shoot me a text at anytime. Just let me know. Let me know the time. Let me know the time and place. I'm always up to talk sports, talk anything. Rod knows I'll sit here and talk anything. So,
you know what I mean? He's my Max Kellerman. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I don't know if I should be offended by that or not.
Hey, Smurf, you can't take him on Monday. I need him on Monday. You can't take him on Monday.
You got him, dog. I just want to, like I said, this whole podcast networking thing, like it's dope to see other people talk sports and really be into it. Hell, even a lot more into it than I am. So it just like being able to listen to y'all and pick y'all brain and just go back and forth. Like, hey, I'm all for it, man.
It's fun. It's a blast. It's all in good. Like this is what sports is supposed to be. It's not supposed. It doesn't matter. Even if we disagree, it's still fun.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun.
Snowman came on here and dissed Alabama and left ASAP. He dissed Alabama and got off. And it's by far the funniest shit.
Also, you know what I mean? That's how, you know what I mean, Smurf, not to cut you off. But this how he plugged me in with Deeds.
Yeah, man.
Wise, El Jefe. You know what I mean? His network right here got me to, you know, get to know Deets. You know what I mean? So this is what all this is about, man. You know what I mean? Also, you know what I mean, quick before we get out of here, go support Snowman in the Morning's fundraiser tonight. It's at, I think he said 9:00 or anyway, you know what I mean? Go support him, man. He's trying to fundraise to go back to North Carolina. Fans, if y'all can donate $5, $10, it doesn't matter. Donate to that brother because, you know what I mean, he's going through a tough time. You know what I mean? The government is not trying to give him disability after he fought cancer. So, man, please go support that brother, man. So that's all I got to say. Anybody else got to say anything else?
Absolutely. Snowman's been a great supporter of my show. He's been hooked me up with guys like Rod, and that's what this community is about. It's about creating out everything together, and that's why we're different. That's why we're here, and the other people are on that other network where they just sit there and argue all the time. They argue, and then they go their separate ways. It's like, no, like we're here. We're a community. It's a fun time.
All right, before we get out of here, man, I appreciate all y'all coming out, and also please go support Snowman in the Morning show, and go hit that fundraiser up tonight. Also, I appreciate y'all. What is it? Are there
hooligan fanatics in football and basketball in the United States, like in Europe? In Europe, they do
it's called Los Angeles, California.
I was going to say it's called University of Kentucky.
It's called Dodger Stadium, where they stab each other in the parking lot.
Appreciate the comment, fan. Appreciate it. Please subscribe also, man. Go subscribe to these brothers to Aries Talking Sports, right?
Yep.
And also T-Shirt Wars, and also Fifth Down Sports, man. Also Broads Uncensored Podcast. Subscribe to the rest of these brothers right here, man, because I appreciate them. We out of here, man. I appreciate you, Deets. I'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, guys.
And thank you, Smurf, for coming on, man.
Always, man. Always.